Early morning start off to Rivington. I'm looking forward to the nicer weather. Sticking in some trails again gets me off the roads, gives me something, a different terrain to be able to run on. Good for the ankles, good for the knees, good for the hips, but also good for up here. So today is the first day trying out the new Brooks Cascadias. So for trail running, a couple of years ago I bought a pair of Caramore, which I think cost maybe about 25 quid. From Sports Direct, and I was doing all my trails in those. And then last year when I did the Ultra at Lady Bower, I ended up losing my big toenail, not my big toe. And I assumed that was probably because the trainers were a bit shit. And I decided, because I don't really like spending shitloads of money on trainers, I decided I was going to treat myself as long as I stuck at the running for long enough. And then after the Manchester to Liverpool, I knew then Brooks was going to be the way that I was going to go, because I managed to do that run in the Brooks Adrenaline 19, which I bought sort of like 5-6 years ago. And I did that without any problems for my feet, any problems for the toenails. Then did the marathon in them as well. Exactly the same again. No real problem for the feet or the toenails. And since there's like a million different brands out there, and all of them tell you why they're the best, I found it a little bit confusing. And since they were like 140, 120, 140, 160 plus something, didn't really want to spend that much money without knowing exactly what it was that I wanted. And so yeah, when I did Manchester to Liverpool and I realised that the Brooks seemed to be really good for my feet, then I decided to treat myself to a pair of trail trainers as well. So I've gone with the Brooks Cascadias, so I'm going to give those ones a go. And let's see how I get on in my first 10k in them today. So I've been really looking forward to being able to get back out on the trails. I say something a bit different terrain, good for the brain, all of that kind of stuff. And the first opportunity I get, despite the fact that over the last week and a half, the weather's been gorgeous in Manchester. First opportunity I get lovely grey clouds, rain. It's a good job I'm not made of sugar. And to make it even better that it's raining, this morning in my haste and in the dark, rather than picking up my waterproof jacket, I picked up Becky's coat instead, which both won't fit and would be absolutely useless for me right now. So it looks like I'm just going to get piss wet through. Always good to start with a hill, innit? Nice little incline. Hello, top of the morning to you. I mean, you know, well, this is quite the tricky terrain, slightly slippy rocks. Quite good to get the brain going so you don't make any wrong steps and end up hitting the deck. This is another incline, so I think the first K was a full incline. And when you get used to running on the roads and running on flats, the inclines definitely hit different. So to get involved in running, it's cheap. You got a pair of trainers, a pair of jogging bottoms or shorts, a t-shirt, and just get out and get started. There's a very low barrier to entry, and obviously fitness is going to determine how much you can do. And you know, previous injury history might determine whether or not running is actually good for you or not, as in, I'm not saying running's not good for anybody, but for the knees, ankles, hips, joints overall. But it's got such a low barrier to entry, and it's easy to start because even if you're not as fit, you can't run that far, well then you run walk. You take your ego out of it, because
everyone likes to think they have to be able to run, and you run walk, and then you build up your distances, you build up your tolerances from there. But for anybody who says running is cheap, that's a lie. Hello. Because as you get more and more into running, you start buying all the kit, vests, trainers, particular clothing, cameras to record it, because obviously without recording it, the races, it really does start to mount up. And over the years, so I used to compete in powerlifting, I've done things like total warrior. I absolutely love any kind of challenge or any kind of competition. And whilst years ago, especially when I was powerlifting, I would have always said, I'm never going to be a runner. I hate running. I like picking heavy stuff up, putting them down. Oh, the little ducks. I like picking heavy stuff up, putting heavy stuff down, over in seconds. And yet now, I just can't wait to get out and really put the test on myself and my endurance. I'm a wanderer, yeah, a wanderer. I roam around and round and from town to town, go through life without a care, and as beat as a clown. Hello, sheep. Genuinely, what is better than being able to get out in nature? And if you're currently in a position where fitness is the big problem to even go for a walk or a hike in nature, please, just make a start today. A 5-minute walk, a 2-minute walk, but just do something and do it every day and just build it up gradually. Take your time, there's no pressure. But honestly, if you're not doing this purely from a fitness point of view, please make a start, because just being able to get out in nature will have some seriously positive impact on you from a health, fitness point of view, both physically and mentally. And it doesn't have to be running, it doesn't have to be trails, it can just be hiking, it can just be walking, getting some extra steps in, but do something. But I can say as well, these Brooks Cascadias new trail shoes are like running on clouds. So far the grip's been really good, even on quite a descent then, but they're so soft. I'm only 5k in so far, so only a little bit of a test for them, see how they hang up on the feet, but so far they get a thumbs up. Yeah, another ascent, another hill, something you just never get around Lee or around Urmston. Me nearly again, and especially with the difference in terrain, which means it's a natural way of slowing the pace, working some inclines and working some hills, training to make these ankles, knees and hips a little bit more robust, and also, probably most importantly, giving the brain something else to be able to work on, rather than just the mundane pounding pavements. And as you can tell by my breathing, this hill's kicking in now. Whew. Little hungry lamb. Well, 10k done on this drizzly Sunday morning, and that was just a lovely run. So I think I was out for about an hour and 15 minutes or something. So that finishes this week for me on 53k, so I'll say about 30 miles or so, and everything feels pretty good. So now it's home, some coffee, and then breakfast, and that finishes off, I say, a good solid week of running, a good solid week of training as well. Got free weight training sessions in there, as well as a conditioning session ready for Deadly Dozen. Whilst Deadly Dozen, so basically a Deadly Dozen is in August and it's Deadly Dozen Gross, so it's an ultra Deadly Dozen. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Deadly Dozen, you do 400 meters running, followed then by a labour, and there are 12 labours. So the labours are just an exercise. So for instance, 60 deadlifts with a 32 kilo kettlebell, there's walking lunges, devil's press, all that kind of stuff. And we're due to be doing that in a relay. And the target, you've got 12 hours to try and complete it 12 times. Weight-wise, at the moment, I'm around 78.5 kilos, I think. The initial plan at the beginning of the year was to get down to sort of 72, 73 kilos maybe, to be lighter for the running. I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother doing that now, if I'm completely honest. If a little bit of weight comes off whilst I'm still eating well, fine, I'm okay with that. But since the next big goal is that 100 kilometres, and whilst losing a bit of weight or a little bit more weight might be beneficial, because with every kilo less, especially when you're doing such a long distance, that's a hell of a big difference on the body. Or I don't really want to be messing around too much from a nutritional point of view. I want to make sure that I'm recovering well. So we shall see about getting down a little bit lower in weight, but around this 78, 79 kilo mark, I feel pretty happy anyway. Running's going pretty well. I've hit my PBs, hit my first 50 miler. That trail felt great then. So yeah, I don't really see the need to be, putting too much pressure on myself to drop any more.